Okay, so I need to be real with you about something. Someone walked away from you thinking they'd find better, thinking the grass was greener somewhere else, thinking you were good but not great, available but not special. They had options. They had curiosity. They had that itch to explore, and they scratched it. And you know what happened next? They found out. They found out that better doesn't exist when you already had best. That greener grass is usually just artificial turf. That what they thought was limitation with you was actually just reality meeting fantasy. And fantasy lost. Let's talk about what someone learns when they try to replace irreplaceable. Picture someone out there dating, swiping, meeting people, giving chances, doing all the things people do when they're exploring their options. They're meeting attractive people, interesting people, people with good qualities. On paper, these people check boxes, make sense, should work, but something's off. Conversations feel surface even when they go deep. Chemistry feels forced even when it's present. Connection feels like work even when it's easy. Nothing lands the way it landed with you. And at first, they tell themselves, just need more time, need to adjust, need to be patient. But time passes and the feeling doesn't change. That's when the comparisons start. Not intentionally at first, just noticing they don't laugh at things the way you did. They don't get my humor the way you got it. Silence with them feels awkward. Silence with you felt comfortable. Small observations that accumulate into one big realization. Nobody feels like you felt. Um, and that realization, it haunts. Think about someone lying next to a perfectly nice person, someone who likes them, someone who's trying, someone who's available, and all they can think about is you. How your energy was different, how the fit was different, how everything was just different. Not objectively better necessarily, just right in a way nothing else is. That's what irreplaceable means. Not that you're perfect, not that you're without flaw, just that you're you. And you can't be duplicated, can't be found in someone else's body with someone else's face, can't be approximated or substituted. Someone's learning that lesson right now. And it's a hard one. Hold on. Stay with me here. You might have spent time wondering if you were enough. If you were interesting enough, attractive enough, exciting enough, if maybe you were too much or not enough in ways that made them leave. And you've been working through that, healing from that, building yourself back up. Meanwhile, they've been conducting a worldwide search for your replacement. How's that search going? Badly. Because you can't replace what you never understood was unique in the first place. They left thinking you were baseline, standard, something they could find again easily. What they're discovering is that you were exceptional, and exceptions don't come around twice, um, especially not for people who didn't appreciate them the first time. Let me paint some specific scenarios here. Maybe they're dating someone who's better on paper, more successful, more conventionally attractive, more whatever they thought they wanted, but that person doesn't see them the way you saw them, doesn't hold space for their complexity, doesn't laugh at their specific brand of weird, doesn't love them in their mess, just loves the presented version. And they're realizing that's hollow. That being with someone impressive who doesn't actually get you feels lonelier than being alone. That you got them deeply, accurately, fully, and they took that for granted because it felt effortless. Didn't realize that effortless understanding is the rarest thing there is. Now they know. Or maybe they're dating someone more fun, more spontaneous, more adventurous, more willing to do the things they thought they wanted. But that person doesn't have your depth, your thoughtfulness, your ability to hold real conversation. Everything's surface level entertainment, which is fine for a while, but humans need more than entertainment. They need substance, and your substance is what's missing. They're sitting across from someone at dinner making small talk and thinking about the conversations they used to have with you, the ones that went until 3 a.m., the ones that covered everything and nothing, the ones that felt like connection instead of just communication. You can't replace that with someone whose idea of conversation is recounting their day in bullet points. Depth isn't negotiable for people who've experienced it. Once you've had it, everything else feels like playing pretend. Or maybe they're alone, not dating at all. Because after trying a few people and feeling nothing close to what they felt with you, they gave up, decided to just be single rather than waste time on connections that feel like downgrade. That's its own kind of realization that they'd rather have nobody than have somebody who isn't you. And in that aloneness, you're everywhere. Every song, every place, every random Tuesday afternoon. They can't escape you because you're not outside them, you're in them. Woven into how they see the world now, how they measure connection, how they understand themselves. You change their baseline, and now everything else falls short of it. That's power you didn't even try to have, just power that comes from being authentically yourself. Hold on. Here's what's happening internally for them right now. They're doing math, cost benefit analysis, risk assessment. Do I reach back out? Do I admit I was wrong? Do I try to fix what I broke? Versus, what if they've moved on? What if they won't forgive me? What if I humiliate myself? That internal debate is real. It's paralyzing. Pride wars with regret. Ego wars with truth. The part that wants to protect itself says, just move on, it's done. They probably hate you anyway. The part that knows what's real says, you'll regret not trying for the rest of your life. Guess which part wins when the feelings are genuine? The truth part. Always. Might take time, might take more failed attempts to replace you, but eventually truth wins. So they're working up to it, to reaching out, to saying something, crafting messages they don't send, starting conversations in their head, imagining how you'll respond, hoping for openness, fearing rejection. It's all happening in the background while you're living your life. You're just existing. They're obsessing. That's the position reversal nobody talks about. The person who left becomes the person who longs. Now, let me talk about your side of this. Because them coming back, that's about them. What you do with it, that's about you. And this is where you need clarity more than anything. Are you the same person they left, or have you evolved past that version? Maybe you've grown, done work on yourself, established new boundaries, built new standards, and the version of them that left wouldn't meet those standards, would need to show up differently, be different, offer different. If they come back the same, that's a no, automatic. But if they come back different, that's worth considering. How do you tell if they're different? Not through words. Words are cheap. Through behavior, through consistency, through how they handle your boundaries. Do they respect your pace or push for immediate intimacy? Do they acknowledge harm done or minimize and deflect? Do they do repair work or expect you to just move on because they're back now? These questions answer themselves through observation, not conversation. You might want to believe they've changed, might want redemption arc, might want happy ending. That's human, that's understandable. Just don't let wanting it make you see change that isn't there. People show you who they are. Believe the showing more than the telling. Always. Let me address something important here. Just because nobody compares to you doesn't mean they deserve access to you again. Just because they learned your value doesn't mean you're obligated to give them opportunity. Their education, their realization, their regret, that's theirs to carry. You don't have to be the prize at the end of their learning journey. You're not here to validate their growth, to prove their realization was correct, to be the reward for them finally figuring out what they had. You're here to live your life, to honor your path, to choose what serves you. If reconnection serves you, beautiful. If it doesn't, also beautiful. Your peace matters more than their redemption. Hold that as non-negotiable. Think about what you've built in their absence, the life you've created, the person you've become, the peace you've found. Is this person an addition to that or a disruption of it? Would having them back enhance your life or complicate it? Would it feel like coming home or like reopening a wound? Only you know these answers, and you know them in your body, not your head. Your head might say, give them a chance, people change, love is worth risk. And that's not wrong. People do change. Love is worth risk sometimes. But your body knows if this specific person, this specific situation is worth your specific risk. Trust your body. It remembers what your mind wants to forget. It remembers how you felt in that relationship, the good and the hard. It remembers the toll, the joy, the everything. Let it guide you here. Let me talk about boundaries if you do engage. Slow, that's the pace. Slow. Not because you're punishing them, because you're protecting yourself. Because trust broke and trust rebuilds slowly, or it doesn't rebuild at all. They don't get to rush back into intimacy just because they've realized your value. Make them earn access incrementally through sustained right action, through showing up consistently over time, through honoring boundaries without complaint, through being patient with your process, with your pace, with your protection. Anyone who balks at that isn't ready, isn't serious, isn't worth your risk. Someone who gets it will understand, will move at your speed, will respect your requirements. And if you choose not to engage at all, that's powerful too. That's you knowing that some chapters close, some doors lock, some opportunities expire, that their timing is their problem, their regret is their teacher, and you're not responsible for making them feel better about choices they made. You're responsible for yourself, your healing, your future. Sometimes that means releasing people who released you first. Even when they come back, even when they've learned, even when part of you wants to say yes. Hold on. Let me land this with something important. Whether they come back or not, whether you say yes or no, one truth remains. You are not replaceable, not to them, not to anyone who actually sees you. Hold on. That knowing, keep it. Regardless of what happens with this person, regardless of who comes or goes in your life, you're not a placeholder, not a practice round, not a backup plan. You're the whole thing, the real thing, the once in a lifetime thing. And anyone who doesn't recognize that immediately doesn't deserve access to you. Someone's learning that lesson about you right now, learning it through loss, through comparison, through discovering you're unfindable elsewhere. That's their journey, their growth, their wake-up call. What you do with that information is entirely yours to decide. Choose from strength, choose from clarity, choose from self-love. Whether you choose them or choose yourself, choose powerfully. You've earned that power through everything you've survived. Use it wisely.